la la la, sis. You never could do this. I love it when you couscous.
Yes, and welcome to Madrid and welcome to the Madrid Urban Sports, the very first edition. And guess what? It's virtual. We have 32 riders from all over the world. We're going to travel here in today's competition. I'm sure you haven't seen this before. I certainly haven't. It is very rare. Like I said, 32 riders from all over the world. Today, we're going to start off with BMX for the men's comp. And boy, we have some incredible talent with us today. And we're also joined by some amazing co-hosts and guests, but they'll happen in just a second. The event is judged by 5 judges, and they get to choose one or the other. So the format is a bit different, but we'll get into that later. The event has started on the 11th of November, so it's been all over social media. We've sure been hearing you there. It's Urban World Series. The account and hashtag is Madrid Urban Sports. The quarterfinals have happened. You watched them there. We heard you. You voted. The semifinals happened as well, and if you're watching there, you would have seen them. We're about to go through them now and find out who of the 4 will make it to the big final, and will also crown our bronze medalist. BMX, let's do it. Let's have a little look about what we can expect for this men's BMX final today. Madrid Urban Sports, let's do it.
I make it stupid amounts. The shit is annoying to count. I hired a dude just to count. And he don't make no mistakes. Yeah, I live my life as suitcase. Yeah, smoking on a bouquet. I get no fucks what you say. I get no fucks what you think. Yeah, I make it stupid amounts. Build the shit up from the ground. I'm blowing down on a pound. Why would I ever come down? This bitch been chasing me round. Really don't matter the town. Flew him out 2 at a time. Yeah, I got room in the house. I got a lesbian bitch out in Texas state. Fuck it, maybe they straight. That hair was great.
Oh, that hair was great, but that ass was fake. Little bitch, you in the college.
There you have it, our BMXers, and I'll be joined by none other than BMX host extraordinaire. His name is Darryl Nau, and that's spelled N-A-U, but it's pronounced now because he's right here, right now. Darryl, welcome to the show.
It's such an honor to be here with you today. I love the fact that we're putting on an event not only for the best riders in the world to come together, but a place for all of our fans around the world, myself included in that, to cheer on some of the best riders out there and put on one heck of an event. Big honor to be here.
We are so happy to have you, Darryl. We didn't have you for the quarterfinals, but did you watch the competition online? What did you think of it?
I did. It was awesome. We actually have that up right now on our YouTube channel. But one of my favorite parts is that I got a chance to see one of the best riders and judges out there, Ruben Alcantara, call all the shots with you. Very cool. If you haven't had a chance to check that one out, go see the whole program.
Darryl Nau joining us all the way from Brooklyn, New York. We're in Madrid. It's incredible that we can do this in an online format and be together, although we're on opposite sides of the world. Now, Darryl, we have a very, 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 very special guest with us today, a BMX legend in the sport. It's none other.
Yes, Maddie, that is true. And you gave me such a nice intro. I'm going to do the honors. We're talking about one of the most celebrated riders of all time. I say that because he's won 5 X Games gold medals, 4 Dew Cup champions, FIS World Series. I'm talking about the man from Caracas, Venezuela, currently living in North Carolina, Daniel Dhers. Daniel, welcome to the Urban Sports World Series.
Hello, Darryl. Hello, everyone. I'm so psyched to be here, man. Usually I'm on the other side on the contest. I'm usually in the field and I have you announced. So this is awesome for me to do, be with you basically in the booth. Although we're not in the same place, just being here digitally is amazing.
2 incredible guests with us today, Daniel Dhers and Darryl Nau. Let's have a look at what happened in the quarterfinals of this competition. We had 8 incredible riders today of grand caliber. I mean, there's Courage Adams on that King Corral there, just incredible.
Yeah, Maddie, we have 8 of the world's best riders. What we basically witnessed was just an all-out onslaught of the most technical riding out there. For the quarterfinals, the riders had to choose their own obstacle, and they had to include a rail in that. Now, that's open to interpretation, and as we look at some of the highlights, we can actually see right there, Julian Molina. He actually has one leg.
So
I like
impressive.
to call him as super abled, as he was able to double peg grind there. There's the Australian Lewis Mills getting technical coming off the rail. I mean, all of these tricks right now are just being pushed forward to such a level of technicality. We actually had Alex Donnachie. You saw he came off that grind with the 360. And look at the long double peg grind to tail whip done by Stefan Atencio. Now, Daniel Dhers, I know that you're looking at all these tricks, especially Courage Adams coming down so fast to that 180 high speed off coming backwards. I think like one of the things that we're seeing here is technical. How does that play out as far as a street rider goes? And what does that even mean, technical street riding?
Dude, technical riding is probably the hardest aspect of BMX because you gotta be precise and you rely on your balance a lot. When you go for like a big gap or something, it's usually your capability of the trick. You basically got the one shot, so you go and send it. While with tech riding, it kind of sucks that you're able to try it so much, but that's like the beauty of it. It's just so difficult. So watching all these clips, man, it's just insane to see. I wonder how many takes did it take him to pull this stuff, because all of these tricks are definitely no joke.
So what you're saying is if you're a perfectionist, it might drive you a little bit crazy because you want to attempt to get it in a way that feels right. Well, I want to ask you this then, when it comes to street style, how important is that for a rider when they're doing street tricks?
I think in street, the beauty of street is how everyone's got their own style, difference to park. I feel like in street, all the guys ride very different from each other. I think in this format, you had everyone having to touch a rail, and you can see how they all did something different. That shows how they all have their own way of riding. Like Courage going down the triple king to 180, that's way different than what Donnachie is doing here at the end. It's just, and that's, I think, the beauty of BMX. It's just like you're able to do whatever and give it your own touch. It's like creating art, you have your own style of art.
Well, I think the words that you said, do whatever, when we see you ride in a park comp, you definitely do that and you create art. I'm going to say the same for Courage Adams on the street right there. Obviously, a double peg grind, you're grinding on the one side. You might say, well, how much style can you put into that? When we watch Courage go down, he puts a lot, because you are going almost full speed out of that double kinked rail. At the bottom, he gets the 180. Your momentum is going down into the ground. He's able to get his back wheel around and then spin extremely smooth on the front end. That's why Courage was unanimously awarded that spot from our judges out there. It is all about the style.
Absolutely.
We're seeing a different version of the style, though, from Donnachie, as he was really smooth on that 360 dismount out of the manual. So the style, the technical aspect, and then also, like Daniel said, you got to be perfect in your execution because we're filming this as opposed to a live event.
I mean, absolutely. We have so much to say about these 8 talented riders here at the quarterfinals, Madrid Urban Sports. Let's have a look at how the bracket finished and who will battle head-to-head for the semifinals. There you have it. It's Donnachie and Adams and Mills and Kruk. We're going from Australia to the USA. They'll battle it out for a spot at the final, and then we will battle it out for 3rd place too. Now, before we head to the semifinals, we have 5 incredible judges here with us today. Well, they've made their scores. Here we have a look at the judges.
Yeah, Maddie, these judges are all legends in their own right. Every BMXer right now is going, oh my gosh, these are the riders that are given the score. Because we have our Spanish judge, Ruben Alcantara. He helped redefine the sport of BMX many times with his video parts where he focused on different styles, wild rodeo grinds, and wall rides. We also have the legend Van Homan, who not only did the same of redefining burly street riding in the late 90s and early 2000s, but he's working with the Olympic Committee right now for the sport. We have Joe Rich, who not only is a pioneer of BMX street rider, things to note, first ever gap to second stage grind and 180 backwards rail. Those are both 2 feathers in his cap. We got the New Jersey legend Garrett Burns, who also helped redefine style as well. Little fun contest fact here. First rider to ever win a park comp with no pegs on his bike at the Goodwill Games back in the year 2000. And last but not least, our local judge, Jamie Sala, who is very instrumental in the Paradise BMX Park opening up. So he's been instrumental in the scene in Spain. These 5 riders are going to be giving their opinion, their judging, and they're saying what rider is going to advance into the next round. Daniel, you've ridden so many contests throughout the years. How important are the judges and the judges that are picked for an event?
Man, that's probably the most important part, you know. It's the part that everybody loves to hate. I don't ever want to be a judge because it's definitely a tough position, man. Like, it is very hard to compare like that high level of riding. When we're at the big contest, usually, you know, you obviously don't want anyone to fall or make mistakes, but it gotten so crazy that you're almost at that point where like, okay, who did what mistake? Because the riding is just so elevated, and you know, you obviously have your preferences in riding, but it's tough. You can never deny when someone did something hard or when someone did something stylish or like a big gap. And, you know, like I said, it's the part that everyone loves to hate because it is tough. And, you know, it's obviously where you have controversies. So having good judges is probably the most important part of the contest because although there might be some controversy at some point, I think when everybody's, you know, sits down cold and think about it and talk about it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, those judges were right. And, you know, as a rider, that's what you want to see. You know, like it's tough, but you definitely want to build some trust with the judges. And again, like I said, it's probably the most important part.
Exactly, and those are our 5 judges that will join us here today. They judged from home. Let's have a look at today's format. It's quite different. It's unique. They were 8 riders, battling head to head. Each rider had to do a best trick in a selected spot. We saw quarters. It was for rail. Semifinals we're going to see today. It's going to be for the balance trick. The big final and the battle for third place, will be the gap as well. Those 5 judges that we saw on screen there will make their decisions. Should we get into it? Let's get into the first semi-final, shall we? Here we go. Here it is, back to back. I mean, guys, what do our audience have to know about the caliber of these riders that we have here today?
Yeah, Maddie, this is exciting because the format is head-to-head. It's not a numeric value that you might see at another contest. So essentially, the riders didn't know who they were going to be competing up against, so they're going to have to bring their A game. Like Daniel said earlier, they're actually out videotaping one of their trick selections. They got to choose, so we're going to see originality, difficulty of trick come into play, that thing we talked about, style. And we're going to see which rider chose. So these now went from 8. We cut the pack down to 4, and we're talking about 4 of the best. If it's going to be anything like our quarterfinal in the semifinal, it's going to be technical. It's going to be also bringing in the burliness like that kink rail that Courage did. But I'm going to revert to you, Daniel. What do you think it's going to take for a rider to advance from the semifinal into the final?
Man, it's tough, especially if you don't know who you're competing against. It's definitely difficult. So what I like from that is that these guys are going to choose what they feel is their best riding. And you can never beat that, man. Like whenever you film something or you do a trick at a contest, if it's something that you wanted to do, that's what BMX is all about. So I'm actually very interested to see what these guys chose because, dude, they're so good. They probably have 1,000 clips they're sitting on, and they're like, okay, what do I choose? You know, it's especially if you don't know who you're going against. So yeah, man, this is gonna be an interesting one.
It sure is. There you have it. You have the Scotsman versus Nigerian Spanish, and we'll have the Australian versus the American. Shall we get into our first semi-final? Here we go. We have Courage Adams and Alex Donnachie. Let's see it.
I'm losing accounts. Hey, I'm a young boss in my state, yeah, so I gotta stay in my town. Hey, I think
Daniel, you called it perfection. That's what we saw out of both of those riders. Throw in the tech combo. Donnachie out there, so crazy to think. Well, let's take a look right here. Courage Adams up on that front wheel, getting the nose manual on both shelves, then throwing the bars to the back end manual, coming off backwards, and then getting that 540 cab around. Now, as we look at Donnachie, things to note, that's his opposite side. He does a toothpick grind on the front peg, jumps up into a feeble grind, as he then goes off the ledge with the 360, lands manual, nose bonks on his regular side, the signpost, and then lands manual and comes out. Those are tongue twisters. But Daniel, what do you think of that crazy 2020 perfection?
Dude, I'm like, I would be so stressed if I had to judge this because this was amazing, dude. Like, I really love how you say, like, Donnachie just play with his opposite side. That's like, for the people that don't know, would be like a baseball player, like pitching with their wrong hand or their other hand. But I love that finishing touch where he toothed the little post, the little sign. That was amazing. But then you see Courage, who does a nose manual, and then he hops up from the nose manual and continues to do that, and then down to the bar Manny 180 fakey cab 3. Like, dude, this is insane. And I love, like, that Courage is amazing at nose manuals. And, at first I was like, well, he's going to do a very long one, but he just totally went up there. He's like, you know what? I'm going to hop from my front wheel and continue on my front wheel. And I'll see you guys later.
Absolutely.
Yeah, now, Daniel, something to think about here. The judges, as far as the criteria for this semifinal goes, the riders weren't given much info. Balance is the name of the game for this semifinal. Courage definitely balanced on his back and front wheel, so that's key to note. He not only then also threw the bar spins, but then he had the balance for that 540 cab where he came around. But Donnachie, watch after he hits the sign, he hits that sweet spot with the backwards manual. So he got extremely technical. He had the balance manual out of the 360 from the grind. And then to me, the thing that really defined the control of Alex Donnachie's riding was after hitting that street sign on his regular side with the front peg, he had that backwards manual and perfectly spotted the curb and came off. So we're seeing the utmost technical riding from two different riders, two different styles, but definitely giving it their own unique flavor.
There you go. There you had it. Darryl said it. Balance is the name of the game. Let's see what the judges had to think of this first semifinal men's BMX competition. Here we go. Donnachie, Adams, they can pick one or the other. Like you said there earlier, it's not numeric. Here we go. Wow. All right. I mean, pretty much Courage for everyone, right?
Wow, so Courage right there taking a sweep across the board. All five judges are in unison, thinking that Courage's nose manual on both shelves, bar spin to back wheel manual to 180 to 540 out off the ledge, was going to take it unanimously over Alex Donnachie.
And we had just Ruben Alcantara with Donnachie on for the balance there. Is that pretty predictable? Is Courage generally much stronger within the balance category?
You know what, Maddie? That's a really difficult thing to call because, as Daniel said early, this event isn't necessarily like a live contest where you have one shot to hit the bullseye and the target. Donnachie has actually done that before. In 2018 Sydney X Games, he got himself a gold medal. So he's been able to do that in a contest. Courage Adams, when it comes down to the pressure and the consistency, earlier this year, he did get 5th at Simple Session, which is one of his higher finishes in a contest. But as far as being able to be consistent, I don't know. What do you think, Daniel?
Dude, it's tough. I feel like there's no wrong here choosing between the two guys. I can see that, I think what was harder on Courage's side was definitely going nose manual up the shelf, continuing nose manual. That I never seen that. It's definitely tough. What I liked from Donnachie was he got that originality to it. Not saying that Courage was not original, but that tooth on the post was unexpected. And then he continued reverse manual cap out. So like it is tough, man. I can see again why they would choose Courage. but I don't think there was a wrong pick here because they
And
were
it will
very creative.
exactly, Daniel, and it will be Courage Adams that will progress on to the final. Congratulations to him. Let's have a look now at our second semifinal. It's Kruk versus Mills. We're going from Australia to the USA. Let's see them.
Hop in a whip and I'm out. I need so much I can't count. Oh, and I don't need no college, cause I'm getting stupid amounts. Hey, hop in a whip and I'm out. I need so much I can't count. Oh, and I don't need no college, cause I'm getting stupid amounts. Yeah, I'm getting stupid amounts. Hey, so much that I'm losing the counts. Hey,
Wow. All right, Daniel. So we're seeing two different riders. As Maddie said, different sides of the globe. They're both titans of street. They each have their own signature frames. We got Kruk with We the People, Mills with Fiend. They came together in this semifinals, both choosing very different styles of the interpretation of balance. You saw Mills put together a long technical combo where he balanced on his back wheel, and Kruk took his definition with that feeble grind where he wound up having to balance on the ledge. What were your initial thoughts, Daniel?
Dude, again, tough one because they're both were so different, you know. I really enjoyed the high-speed manual to high-speed, you know, manual 180 bar. But, you know, with Kruk doing the long feeble, it's crazy because it looks simple, but it is actually kind of hard to hold a feeble for that long. Just because, like, the bike wants to, like, get out of the, it wants to, like, shoot out. So he not only he stayed there for a long time, he also whipped out. You know, it's tough. Just again, it's different. It's kind of hard to compare apples to oranges here. But it is good to see how they have different styles. You know, they come from different continents and they saw balance as a whole different thing.
Yeah, we want to also, Maddie, forgive me, I just want to also throw in here before we hear from the judges. Kruk definitely had the bar spin in and the tail whip out, two street staples, but hard to do on a ledge like that. I think the reason that he really showed that he was waxing it down as well, that's just a really harsh ledge to try to get your grind and find your balance point on there, but he kept his front wheel. And then with Mills, take a look one last time at this high-speed manual. He locks in perfectly, gets the bunny hop bar spin across the gap, and then comes around with perfect execution of the 180 bar spin, both clean and crispy. But I got to say, Mills right there just really had the precision of when to have both of those hops and pulled it together nice and smooth.
Absolutely, Darryl. I mean, two beautiful riders. They're beautiful videos. I love that we just get to travel with this new online format. Let's see what the judges had to say on this second semifinal. Will it be Kruk or will it be Mills that will progress against Courage in the big battle for the final? There you have it. It's Mills all the way, all five judges for Mills on the balance. Are we surprised with that result?
There you go. Australia across the board right there. That was the sweep that we saw for Mills. That's an exciting thing. And one thing to note as we get ready to go into our finals, Daniel, how important do you think the interpretation of the different, rail, balance, gap, how important do you think that plays as far as the creativity goes and what the judges look for in each one of those categories?
What I like of having different categories is that it shows an overall rider. You know, I think within BMX and street, park, flatland, I feel like you kind of choose the one thing you're really good at, and then you like extend and build upon that. So it is cool to see that, you know, you kind of need to be good at everything. It's not like, hey, you are really good in balance and you can like basically push through the whole competition with doing balance tricks. It's like, okay, you gotta be good on the rail, you gotta be good at the gaps, you gotta be good in balance, and it makes it tough and it makes it interesting. As like me watching the event, I love that I'm able to see different riding. I know that it's not gonna get repetitive. I know these guys are gonna try different stuff, and I'm gonna get to see how good they are in different aspects of street riding. So I think it's awesome.
And there you have it. It's gonna be Courage and Mills. They're gonna battle head to head for the final. Let's have a look at this updated bracket. All right, there it is. It's Adams and Mills will battle head to head for the big final. But before we get into that, we need to decide who will take third place. There you have our two riders, Donnachie and Kruk, for third place. I mean, this is it, guys. What do we have to say about this last battle for third?
All right, Daniel, I want to know your thoughts before we see this go down. We've got the Scotsman, Alex Donnachie. As I said, he's won a gold medal before. He's got some of the most technical and progressive combinations. We've already seen him utilize grinds on both sides of his bike, the back wheel 360 to manuals. But we have Dan Kruk, who really had that powerful double peg up to 180 tail whip in our quarterfinal. He's also a street heavyweight. He's got his signature frame. He's been pushing himself. He's in the zone. What do you think it's going to be before we get a chance to witness the riders?
Yeah, I think it's gotta be tough. I think Donnachie definitely got the experience, winning big events, and like he knows what he needs to do. I think Dan, he's more like the underdog. He's coming in, he's hungry, he's been doing gnarly stuff for a while. So, it's gonna be, I think it's gonna come down to the motivation. Like, what is gonna motivate you to try to get a better position? So I'm interested, man. Again, it's just two different styles. Donnachie is always a bit more techie. I think Dan is always a bit more jumpy, to say it like that. So I'm interested, man. It's gotta be sick.
It's gonna be a close one. Here we have it, Alex and Dan. Let's see these guys battle it out for third place.
Hop in a whip and I'm out. I need so much I can't count. Oh, and I don't know college, cause I'm getting stupid amounts. Hey, hop in a whip and I'm out. I need so much I can't count. Oh, and I don't need no college, cause I'm getting stupid amounts.
Well, there we have our two riders with their own interpretation of the word gap. They are going head to head. Let's take a look. Dan dropping in off the roof and then does a truck driver. That's a 360 bar spin to flat right there. He grabs the bars. And here's Donnachie keeping things across the gap of the street. He does a 180 bar spin. And the thing to note is that he lands backwards, but his cranks don't necessarily engage. He's got the new BSD Revolution coaster on, which is enabling him to do that. He gets a hop clean 180 coming out. Very interesting, Daniel. Both riders chose to do a spin with a bar spin. Dan Kruk coming off a roof onto a ledge onto flat. He did the 360 version, and Donnachie does a 180 bar spin. What are your thoughts?
See, and this is exactly what I was saying, how Donnachie is a bit more tech. He, even on the gap, he's adding tech, like trying to land fake at that speed. You mess up, you're gonna end up like shredded cheese. And Dan, he just went burly. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it this. I'm gonna do a big banger. And if I die, I die.
I mean, both riders pulling out some huge gaps here for third place. Let's see what the judges had to say for this one and who will be crowned with the bronze medal. Here we go, Donnachie and Kruk. Oh, there we go. 5 judges. Unanimous decision.
Wow, they're speaking across the board. So, Maddie, the gap off the roof onto the ledge to flat definitely spoke louder than Alex Donnachie. But we do want to give Donnachie props. He did go fast, as Daniel said. You actually saw that initial pedal where he's putting on a little bit of a speed sprint to that gap 180 bar spin. I personally like Donnachie's because it was a little bit, remind me of the New York City street flavor where you jump across streets like that. But Dan Kruk today came out on top with that truck to flat. Daniel, what do you think? Was that a well-deserved sweep?
I think, again, this whole competition, I don't think you have been able to choose a wrong pick. Like Dan right here, just doing a truck driver of like a roof, dude, it's just no joke. Because if you mess up, you're not going home and sleeping sweet that night. You could end up in the hospital. And, Donnachie, I think he used the gap aspect as like, okay, I'm going to jump long. But like I said, yes, I think it came down to risk factor. The 180 bar, I think it has a bit more tech than the gap aspect, although he's jumping over a street, which is gnarly. I just think the truck over, jumping from a roof it's just no joke. It's not something you want to try over and over and over, you know. So yeah, for that, man, he went big.
He went big, and congratulations to Dan. He took the bronze medal. Now, before we head to the big final, let's take a moment and dive deep into the sport of BMX, because we have one of the best in the game with us today, Daniel Dhers. And we really just want to hear from Daniel about the current climate of BMX throughout this whole context of 2020, heading into the Olympic year, a global pandemic. I mean, Darryl, it's just been a wild year for BMX, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a very big disruption for every rider, everybody on the planet, let's face it. But Daniel, as you being one of the top competitors, we know that this is the first time BMX was supposed to be in the Olympics. For the last year and a half, there's been a points race. You've been traveling the world to almost every competition out there. And then all of a sudden, the traveling e-brake was pretty much pulled. What's your last 6, 7, 8 months been looking like in the world of Daniel Dhers?
I think my last 6 months have been very, very similar to everyone's, not a lot of traveling. Luckily, there were a couple events this last few months. I got to go to Croatia in August, and then I went to Italy in October, and I just came back from Barcelona, the Barcelona Extreme a couple weekends ago. And, you know, it's crazy. It's different. You know, the world's changed at the moment. As a competitor, it's definitely tough, like sitting around for so long, especially when we knew the biggest show was about to happen. And then it was like, oh, hey, no show. See you guys next year. And it's crazy because you gotta stay motivated for an extra year, which, you know, I think because it is the first time going to the Olympics, a lot of the guys and the girls are definitely in that mindset, like, hey, I gotta stay focused, like the big show is coming. But it's tough, man. It definitely takes a toll on you when you're like ready for something and then they move the finish line, you know, further away.
Yeah, I could see that being an additional challenge, right? Because it's like, as an athlete, you're always keeping your blade extra sharp. And now it's one of those things where you're hurry up and wait. You don't know when you have to get back in the metaphoric ring, so to speak, for your next competition. But for a lot of people that have had the opportunity, I know I'm looking, it's on the top of my list to go down and visit you in the Carolinas. You have your own skate park down there. Have you been home getting a chance to ride during this time?
Yeah, man, I never stopped riding. Even right at the beginning of the pandemic, like I live a mile from my park. And at first, a lot of the pro guys and girls that are going to the Olympics live here. So we all basically made a pact, like, hey, let's not go outside, let's not get ourselves in jeopardy, and let's continue riding. Especially because at first, you know, the Prime Minister of Japan was like, hey, the Olympics are happening no matter what. So we all panicked as like, hey, we need to keep training. And at first, it was, I guess, a blessing in disguise, man, because with so much traveling, I think none of us really had time to sit down and look at our riding. I was like, okay, what do we want to learn? Because usually you have to, like, you practice, but you have a contest soon, so you don't want to get hurt or too hurt. And once you are done with that event, you come home, you don't rest much, you have to go to the next event. So at first, I think it was actually good. Everybody got to like work on the stuff that they wanted to. And right now, you know, I think everyone's kind of just going a day at a time. It's like, I think the biggest question is, what are the contests going to look like next year? You know, are there going to be many events? Once there are events, are they going to be, how different are they going to be? Going to Barcelona was very different, you know, from our usual event. You have crowds. Now there were nothing. And, you know, the whole protocols to go in the events and everything, it's very interesting. And I think everyone is kind of intrigued on what is it going to look like next year. So right now we keep riding, having a good time with our bikes, and, you know, keep getting ready. At least we get more time to practice more, right?
I think everybody's waited with bated breath to see what's going to entail the next year. But for right now, I know that you're in Greenville, and a big reason why a lot of riders are there. One of the other most celebrated riders in BMX, I'm talking about the late, great Dave Mira. He not only is one of your biggest influences, but he actually set his roots in Greenville, and a lot of other riders moved there. Specifically around 15 years ago, it was kind of the mecca if you were a pro rider, and then it wound up kind of fading out for a little bit. But with your park and all these other Olympic athletes there now, does it kind of feel like the glory days of Greenville are back?
It's similar. It's not the same, but it's crazy you mentioned that because today I was riding in the morning and I went to my car to grab a shirt and I look at all the cars and I was like, dude, this is what the Animal House used to be. Like you open the door and you have all the main riders' cars outside and like, it brought back a good memory and good feeling. Things are obviously not the same from that era, but it is good to see like the new generation got their own thing going on. And, I'm obviously in the older part of probably the previous generation. So it is good to see how they are treating BMX. I think we got good instruction from the BMX gods and we try to keep it alive the same way they did. And it is good, man. I'm psyched to watch these guys ride and just progress. That's, I think, at the end of the day, why we came to North Carolina. And I like to see that spirit carries on.
Well, I have to say, you're definitely making Dave proud by having your facility and having it open to all other riders out there. I think that's something really special. And not only are you a champion, but you're also leading by example for the future generations and also your friends. So that's something very, very cool to see.
Definitely.
Maddie, I know that we got our event going on and we're getting ready for our big final coming up. Who are our riders going to be?
Definitely, and it's so great to hear from these two. I mean, if we left them here, they could talk for hours. I'm sure you can hit them up by themselves. That's Darryl Nau and Daniel Dhers. But now it's time for our big final. We're going head to head. It's Lewis Mills from Australia and Courage Adams. He lives here in Madrid, but he's a Nigerian native. Courage and Lewis, guys, what can you tell us about where these young riders are currently at? What stage in their careers?
Yeah, Maddie, this is a big final, head-to-head. Two of the best riders. I know you just said different sides of the world. Courage currently lives in Spain. He's so technical. He actually has such a cool Instagram. You could follow him at Courage Adams, where he puts together some of the most technical, jaw-dropping lines, similar to what we saw in the semifinal, but usually throw 10 more tricks on or after. He defies logic every time. Really exciting rider to watch. It's going to be interesting because, as Daniel said earlier, he has an opportunity to film lines and pick things. So I can't wait to see what he chose. He can go big as well. But Lewis Mills has been on an awesome tear for the last few years. Like in Sydney 2018, one of his first pro contests, he entered Street X Games. He got himself a silver medal in front of his home crowd. It was such a special moment. The place went absolutely nuts cheering him on. And since then, he's picked himself up some great sponsors, vans. He's also working with Garrett Reynolds' company, Fiend Signature Bike, and he's been pushing his riding. So these really are two heavyweights of modern day 2020 street riding. Daniel, I want to ask you, we've seen the quarters, we've seen the semis. What do you think it's going to take for either of these guys to bring for our final?
Oh, man, they're going to have to put their soul into this because, like you said, they're both incredible riders. And I know Courage has so much stuff going on when he rides. Like, all his tricks are just so well polished. And anytime he posts a line, like especially when you talk about his Instagram, all this stuff he puts there is gold. And dude, Lewis, what I like about him is that he doesn't hold back. He just goes in and he's like, this is it. I'm not going to have many chances at this. I'm going to go hard. And so I'm interested to see what's going to happen here because, again, two amazing riders, and I know they're not going to disappoint.
Here we go. Two young guns there about to battle it out for the final spot. Men's BMX. Let's see what they have to offer us. Here we go.
Stupid amounts. Yeah, I'm getting stupid amounts.
Wow, two big haymakers and both of them connecting with the streets right there. Daniel, what are your initial thoughts?
Dude, my stress just shot through the roof watching this, man. Both of them just say, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to live, and just jump the biggest thing they could find. This is nuts, man. I think, I think Courage got this one because he did truck over the rail. So you're blind there for a second, which is insane. But like I said, Mills was not going to hold back, man. These guys are insane. Someone call their mother, please.
Wow, two huge interpretations of the gap. Darryl, we want to hear what you have to say, but first, we need to see what the judges, and we have a drum roll here for the judges' decision. It's Adams or Mills. Who will it be? We have Ruben Alcantara, who will vote first. Let's see. Oh, wow. There you have it. There you have it. I mean, Darryl, you were about to say, I'm sure you're not surprised by this one.
No, not at all right there. Courage Adams, you see the name in bold caps lock right there. I think they bumped the font up. Well deserved, coming in first place. That was an enormous truck driver. Let's take a look. He pedals full speed into the stairs, 360 bar spin. He has to thread the needle between the wall and that rail, making sure that he doesn't hit either of them as he rotates. You see he throws the bars going past the rail, catching it smoothly with a tuck and landing down on the street. Now, I know everyone out there at home is going to be pausing and saying, how many stairs did he go? That was 6 stairs down flat and then another 3 and 3. So that is 12 stairs total. That was crazy. And the style by Courage, you saw halfway through, he was able to catch the bars and bring the bike forward. But I don't want to take away from his competitor out there. Lewis Mills, really technical on this gap. He did a bunny hop bar spin up to an extremely short stage and then a hop over a rail, which was also a big 12-stair gap coming down. You cannot overstress how difficult that short stage is to get that hop, because you throw the bars, you got to set up quickly and then be able to utilize your strength to get over the rail. Both of these riders were extremely high risk, high reward for these tricks. They both pulled them flawlessly, but Courage Adams came out on top.
Absolutely, and two beautiful interpretations of the gap there. But as you said it, Darryl, Courage came out on top, unanimous decision by the judges, and we have a big surprise. Courage is joining us live right now. We have the winner of the first Madrid Urban Sports virtual competition on the phone with us today, Courage Adams. Courage, thank you so much for being here today. How does it feel to win a virtual competition? That was a huge gap for that last final.
The first thing, thank you guys for everything. I'm really, really happy, really stoked. For me, it's a pleasure to have been part of such a cool project like this. For me, this year was like something new. And I think, I don't know, I mean, it's like a different way to like keep going and keep like trying to improve in BMX. And yeah, I'm really happy how everything comes out and how everything works out. Can't wait to let my friend Rafa to know that we did it. I don't know. I'm so happy. Thank you guys. Thanks to the judges, and thanks for the organization for all. I'm so happy. Thank you so much.
Darryl, huge smile on your face. What are you thinking there? And congratulations again, Courage.
Courage, it's so good to see you, my man. I've missed you. And seeing you on top of the podium in first place at the Urban World Series, congratulations.
Thank you, Darry. Thank you.
Now, I want to know, as a fan of yours, along with all the riders at home, we see you on Instagram post these mind-blowing combinations and links on the daily. If you're not following, follow at Courage Adams. But I got to ask you, when this event happened for the Urban World Series, knowing that it was also a video contest, you also film a lot. What was your approach or your mindset like when you sat down to start filming or work on this project?
I don't know. I mean, this year has been so weird, so I just say like, let's do it. Let's try it. Yeah, let's just try to keep going, to keep the motivation up, and I don't know. Let's see what will happen. But I don't know. That's one of like my purpose when all this matter about the virus came out. So I think I'm doing well. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Definitely.
you chose awesome obstacles for this. Were these all your first choices, or did you film other tricks and these are the ones you submitted? What was that process like?
Yeah, I did all like I don't know, for I think a month. We were filming a month around here in Madrid. It wasn't easy because I took like some bad crash filming, for example, the gap and the rail. The rail was super hard, but I don't know. That was like we were like, let's do it in Madrid, and let's see what could happen. But yeah, it was like everything rolls up really cool.
Car-
Not easy.
Definitely. I'm encouraged a young Madrileño rider who will take the crown at Madrid Urban Sports. I mean, Daniel, rider to rider, you must have something to say here.
Kurt, that was insane. I saw the bunny hop whip over the chain. I was like, okay, that's a nice start. And then you start cranking, but you weren't like trying to max out your speed. You were like cranking. All of a sudden, it's like, he's picking up speed. What is he gonna jump? And dude, I like, congratulations, obviously, on winning the event. But dude, more congratulations on pulling that gnarly trick. That was insane.
Thank you, Daniel. Really appreciate it coming from you. Thank you.
Oh man, well deserved, dude. That's great riding, dude. I love your riding.
you.
Just always putting in the work, and you know, hard work pays off, man. So again, congratulations.
Thank you, gracias.
Maddie, I got to ask Courage this while we have him on the line. Courage, that truck driver over the railing, it looked like you were taking off from like cobblestone bricks and landing. Was that a hard run up because you were also so narrow between the wall and the rail? What was the setup like to go for the winning final trick?
I don't know. I mean, at the beginning, I thought it was gonna be like more easy, but when I get to the spot, I was like, oh my god, this is not gonna be like I thought. I did it like a couple of times without the bar spin, and the thing was like the gap was super long, and it was super hard to throw the bar spin with the speed that I was going. I don't know. The first bar spin I did like how I did it. I did like a bit sketchy because I thought I was going to die. Seriously, it was like, I don't know, but I don't know how does it work out. But I'm really stuck that I got it. I was really stuck because I was super scary at the moment that I was there trying it.
There you go, Courage, and thank you so much. Sorry, Darryl, I think you had another question for you, but
it was exciting seeing that speed as you went over the rail, and it's interesting to say, and I think everybody around the world, sketchy was actually smooth and stylish.
Right.
Your back end dipped, your front end went right up over the rail, and you landed perfectly coming around. I gotta say, that was such a cool big trick, and we thank you for bringing that to our final right there.
Thank you.
For sure. Courage, thank you so much for joining us live today, and congratulations again on winning on your home soil. It's goodbye for Courage Adams today. It's so great to have the young champion there. That was it, guys. What a final, and what a guy. Courage is the name, and it surely suits with that last gap. It was incredible.
Yeah, Maddie, Courage, well-deserved win right there. We saw him work his way through the quarterfinal. He had that big kink rail to 180. We then saw in the semifinal, he had that nose manual balance on the different stages. As Daniel said, he had to use his upper body to hop up, then get the bar spin, then the 180, then the 540, which then set him up perfectly for that big truck to take the top spot over Lewis Mills in the final. Courage, you are a beast of a rider, one of the best street riders in the world, showing you why with the first place out here at our Urban World Series. So cool to see him get that top spot, Daniel.
Dude, it was so insane. I'm still mind blown. Like, I was just thinking, because the rail, it's not like the rail is very low. The rail was kind of even from where he took off. So he had to go fast. And then, like, as you can see in the clip, like, you know, trying to protect his front wheel, because if he touches the front wheel, that's it. There's goodbye months. And then, dude, it looked like he was going to clip his back peg. And, you know, he missed it. And it was just perfect. The whole clip was perfect. And how you said, like, all the things leading up to the finals, you know, he showed he's the better rider. He was able to do a little bit of rail, a little bit of balance, and I don't want to say a little bit of gap. Everything was gnarly. All of his clips were gnarly, man. So, yeah, again, congratulations to Courage, man. That was amazing.
Definitely. Congratulations to Courage, and thank you to these two magnificent human beings, extraordinary characters in the world of BMX. Mr. Darryl Nau and Mr. Daniel Dhers, thank you so much for being here today. Goodbye and see you very soon. Hope to see you next year in the physical event of Madrid 2021. Now let's take a look at the podium. That was it for the men's BMX competition, and this is what the podium looked like. We had Dan Kruk of the USA take the bronze medal. We had Lewis Mills of Australia take the silver, and the man himself, you saw him there, Mr. Courage Adams. He's a local guy. He won on his home soil. It's the very first edition of this competition. A big win for him. Congratulations to all three of those men's BMX. Now, before we carry on with the competition, we have something very exciting for you today. It's the first round of the freestyle battle. It's something I've been waiting around all day for. Here you have it.
Puedes definirme como un estudiante de danza, pero también soy arquitecta y kickboxer. Y quiero una app que sea como yo, que además de ayudarme a gestionar mi dinero, me ofrezca mucho más, con la que pueda disfrutarlo todo con mis amigos, hasta llevar las cuentas de la cena del sábado, y sin necesidad de tener una cuenta bancaria. Descárgate la app y descubre el nuevo Imagine.
Muy buenas, ¿qué tal estáis? Soy Eude, me presento, vengo de parte de Urban Rooster, estamos aquí en Madrid Urban Sport Virtual. Ya sabéis que este año teníamos que haberla liado, tenía que haber un evento, pero bueno, estamos con el COVID, hay una pandemia mundial y estamos aquí representando. Vamos a hacer un poquito una batalla de freestyle de la FMS, la Liga Profesional de Freestyle. Os iré explicando un poco lo que vamos a hacer. Antes de nada quiero presentar a mi hombre DJ Phoenix, está en los platos. ¿Qué tal, hermano? Y tengo aquí a dos competidores, tengo por un lado a Mr. Ego, ahí está. Y tengo por otro lado a Mark. Y lo dicho, vamos a hacer una pequeña batalla de exhibición para que veáis en qué consiste esta disciplina. Lo primero va a ser conocerles. Así que por favor, cámbiame la base, DJ Phoenix. Y quiero que desde casa todo el mundo dé calor a mi hombre, Mark. ¿Qué tal, hermano? Y freestyle puro ya al momento. Se lo damos en 3, 2, 1, tiempo.
Me ha tocado el minuto de presentación para que toda la peña bien conozca a este cabrón. Soy ese rapper que lo hace con sensación y que siempre disfruta cuando se escribe una canción. Yo empecé bien tranquilo, con estilo versátil, no practicando easy modes en la pantalla de un portátil. Rapeaba en la calle y me encontraba con Mister al parque y hacíamos un rap que aquí te parte, aquí y allí, da igual donde vayas, en Madrid capital, nunca tiraban la toalla. Estos dos cabrones se daban tralla y se insultaban y usaban a los raperos como sus cobayas. Era un laboratorio de rimas, un crematorio, un cementerio, encima en la tarima es obvio. Estoy rapeando como quiero en el escenario, yo no cambio ni por oro ni denarios. Me quedan más, no has dicho 3, 2, 1, pero bueno, ¿qué más da? Aquí somos unos sudados, pero cuando rapeamos, nos lo curramos y llegamos al final.
Tiempo, allá está mi hombre Mark, de lujo, hermano. Fénix, cámbiame la instrumental. Y por otro lado tenemos a uno de los representantes de Madrid, que actualmente está en la FMS, la Liga Profesional. Tenemos al señor Mr. Ego. ¿Qué tal, hermano? Díselo. Presentación. Mr. Ego, se lo damos en 3, 2, 1, dámelo.
Yo soy el flow, soy la experiencia de cualquier parte. De esos estilos que pilla el micro y te parte. Has visto cómo aplico estas técnicas de combate. Yo he estado en el parque más de 10 años representando tu under. Ese que tú ves por la tele cuando ves que fluyo. A mí me da igual, chaval, soy el Maraja y lo destruyo. Yo soy de esos que tienen orgullo, que yo no pierdo al juego. Digo que el juego es suyo y me lo quedo. Has visto cómo te manejo, te la marcaré de lejos. Soy callejón, has visto yo me despejo. Mi sistema métrico es complejo, pero me dijo a mí mismo que me quedara en viejo. Estuve con el Mark repartiendo arte como si fuera KCO, pero casi que nadie me parte. Yo traigo estilos para ti, para tu bidón. Yo traigo almidón para todos los parques. Este es mi don y se te reparte, bro. Has visto cómo parte la última. Me da igual, yo tengo rima explícita en la tarima. Es más lúdica, más lo que tú quieras en este videojuego. Patrocina la skin de Valorant por Mr.
Tiempo, mi gente. Ya está Mr. Ego. Mark, por favor, va a empezar la batalla. Ahora sí, ya nos hemos presentado todos. Ha dicho claro que se vea que hay competición sana. Os explico. Ahora va a haber un easy mode. Eso quiere decir que le vamos a poner palabras cada 10 segundos para que ellos improvisen con la palabra que aparece en pantalla. Mister, ¿estás listo? Perfecto. Fénix.
Diga, billota.
La primera ya sabes. La primera se baila. A ver. Se lo damos en 3, 2, 1. Tiempo.
What up, Sean? Ha venido Mr. Ego, el rey de la colisión. El coloso es horroroso, yo tengo la destrucción. Desde mi baño puedo destrozar su habitación. Colisión coloso desde el inicio. Me da igual tener que perder mis finales por mis principios. Es así, tengo mi batería de litio. El inicio de Devil Jean es así, el skill del precipicio que te suelta. Mi flow es la respuesta. Has visto cómo vengo y este se expande. Soy el mejor del under, ahí pone skate. Joder, yo traigo el combate. No tenemos manillar porque en la FMS no hander. Has visto joder en el salón de la fama. Mi colisión te aclama, te hago un gambito de dama. ¿En qué ámbito tú me ganas? Si estoy en el salón como sos Michael, toma patada, no drama. Pa' ella o pa' mí palmar. Brasileña representa y nos vamos pa' allá a zampar. Has visto cada vez que yo vengo soy profano. Cada culo es una paella porque se saben que voy al grano. Oh, claro que sí, tronco, me desespero. Yo no soy el Real Madrid ni tengo acné como granero, pero sé que te gané. Si eres un pepero, aquí no nos representa. Florentino morirá primero.
Tiempo. Mister Ego ha estado ahí de lujo. Mark, ¿estás listo?
Sí, dale duro.
Bien, a ver. Y se lo damos en 3, 2, 1. Tiempo.
En 3, 2, 1, tiempo. Cuando yo rapeo aquí nunca hay silencio. Lo sabes, loco, yo aquí siempre soy severo. Yo soy más sangriento que en el silencio de los corderos. Yo no pierdo el tiempo y desde cero, 7-0, como el Barça sin Florentino. A esos cabrones que les den por culo si Messi se piró porque eran unos cretinos. Y al final se quedó porque tiene gusto o mal gusto, o porque le dieron un susto y le dijeron ya no cobras. Y para llegar a final de mes, al final pues tendrá que hacer más maniobras. Yo estoy rapeando aquí, el Marcos brilla. Estoy más bueno que una jodida tortilla de patata francesa. Eso me da igual, se la ponemos al puto Fénix en la mesa y le encanta. Yo no soy el mar, yo soy el Mark. Aunque a veces sé que no puedo nadar. Intento y no consigo flotar, pero me la pela, loco, porque siempre llego hasta el final. Lo sabes, yo soy un puto pasillo de esos que dan miedo cuando al final nunca ves el brillo. Yo soy un jodido listillo.
¡Tiempo! Ahí está el minuto de Marc. De lujo, chavales. Ahora vamos a poner una temática y tendréis que rapear 4 patrones cada uno. Empiezas tú, Marc, has terminado, ¿ok? Fénix, ¿estás listo? Vamos para allá. Y… dale ahí.
El Marc cuando te insulta es bueno como el puto Benzema de media punta. Estoy metiendo goles, rapeando siempre como los mejores. Si hablamos de deporte, esa mierda me da igual. Yo soy el mejor en esto, que este es mi deporte mental. Hacemos freestyle desde la jodida escuela y cuando rapeamos con otro le dejamos secuelas. Si me la pela, hablamos de deporte, que te enculen. Yo soy como con la tabla Rodney Mullen o como Nilla Huston, porque en mi ámbito, aunque no sea el skate, yo siempre sueno más vasto. Los Castro, los Capo, me queda la última. Eso me la pela, loco, esta es mi película. El mar no se la salta. Yo soy más mítico como Powell Peralta.
¡Cambio!
Como Cower Peralta, pero creo que les faltan este estilo que en el micro se le exalta. No sé si me adueñas o resaltas. No sé, a mí lo que me falta es una zurda para poder tirar faltas. Como Dembélé, mejor si se la dan, pero vuelve otra vez el Omedé, la difro más, el deporte mental. A mí me da igual, tronco, sí, tengo la mente. Cáptalo, soy Kasparov, cáptalo a la siguiente. Luego lo ves, joder, tronco, has visto mi estilo, no se me despeina. Me da igual, soy el serie, pero no serial. Has visto cómo le asedia. El tablero de ajedrez es mi deporte, tengo Casillas, Torre y Reina. Oh, sí, claro que sí, selección española es lo que más te mola. Yo traigo estilo, has visto, primo, en la gramola. Algunos tontos con su polito Ralph Lauren. Yo les cogería una Sky y entonces sería Lolito Fernández.
Tiempo, de lujo, mi gente. Fénix, vamos a cambiarla. Segunda temática, empiezas tú, Mr. Ego, ¿ok? Dale ahí. Sí, Mister, ¿estás listo o qué? Sí. A ver. Yo, se lo damos en 3, 2, 1… Dámelo.
Estos estilos todo guapos en graffiti, tenemos las leyes. Han venido el Mar y el Juan, el King de Reyes. Desde aquí hasta Argüelles. Soy un gitano con la navaja, soy Picasso y mis 3 muelles. Oh shit, quieren graffiti, se los traigo, hombre. Yo les vengo a repartir pinturas y golpes. Pa' ti joder un Will Style con hombre. A mí me da igual el hábito a quien hizo. Al monje, eso lo sabe todo Dios. Tengo mi propia pintura, tengo mi propia escultura para intentar hacerlo bien. Todos los MCs que se ponen abajo del andén, yo les doy la pirula para poder pintarles todo el tren. Y es así. Has visto, joder, mi estilo no es putrefacto. Has visto, soy el listo, ni los asalto. Has visto cómo les mato. MCs con esa cara tan barata, joder, parece un cuadro abstracto.
¡Cambio!
El graffiti es mi jerga, irme corriendo y dejar tu local lleno de mierda. Ya lo sabes, es genial, no es vandalismo, pero mola ese segurata detrás. Así que, loco, Mar no fracasa, te encanta ver mi nombre cuando tu puto tren te pasa. Y cuando lo pierdes ves que mi nombre se aleja y tú dices, puto Marquitos, joder, me cago en su vieja. Yo rapeo como un cabrón, no soy el peor, el edificio arriba con el extintor. Yo de graffiti controlo, aunque nunca se me dio tan bien. No como en el rap que llegué al puto nivel 100. Es la última, yo no me canso, pero si salgo a hacer graffiti desfaso. Tengo al segurata que es un puto gordo cagándose en mis muertos porque no me coge y le di un repaso.
Tiempo. Bueno, mi gente, aquí con Mr. Ego, Mar, Fénix y graffiti detrás, incluso igual que la temática. Nos vamos despidiendo. Os dejamos con el siguiente show de Madrid Urban Sport Virtual, pero en un ratito vamos a volver. Vamos a ponerles a prueba, ¿vale? Nos vemos en nada, chavales. Hasta ahora.